We've all seen this video from Kamala Harris.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
This is why that's offensive. It's offensive for a few reasons. We hear politicians all the time say what they cannot do specifically for black people. Worse yet, we got the politically paid black puppets, we all know who they are, who go around reinforcing that lie, saying that politicians cannot do things specifically for black people. And that's a lie. They can do whatever they want for any group of people. Let's not talk about it. Let's look at it. Let's look at things that they've done specifically for groups of people that did not include black people. First off, I want to remind everybody.
Please join us and text South Asians to 70785.
So she has specifically endorsed acts that targeted her group of people, South Asians. And I also want to say something very specific and very clear before I get deeper into it. This isn't about xenophobia. This isn't about hate. This isn't about being divisive. This is about politics where we all pay taxes, and through our vote, we get those resources allocated back to our communities through who we elect. That's what this is about. No divisiveness, no lines drawn. As a matter of fact, the only lines that are being drawn are lines being drawn by the Biden-Harris administration between divisive comments like that and actions like I'm about to show you right now on screen. I want you to look at this real fast. Look at this right here with Kamala Harris. This is from the whitehouse.gov. This is the Biden-Harris administration doing things specifically for the Asian community. And again, no disrespect to the Asian community, but this is business. So if you go in here, it talks about all of the things that's been going on, systematic racism against the Asian community, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders. So they had a redress. What are we going to do about this? So they put this fact sheet out, and this is from May 28, 2001 on whitehouse.gov. It says, helping to coordinate comprehensive federal response to a rise in anti-Asian bias and violence. Fine. I have no issues. No one should ever be hated on. No one should ever experience racism. No one should ever experience xenophobia and things like that. And I do believe the government should help specific groups of people who do face these attacks. So let's go to the Crime Data Explorer directly from the FBI. This is also from 2022. It talks about the biggest hate, the types of hate crimes and where they come from. It says 6,500 of all hate crimes were based in race or ethnicity. So a large part of hate crimes are based in race. Who are the people who are most hated on when it comes to that? Oh, what do we have here from the FBI website? Anti-black hate is by far the highest leader when it comes to victims of hate crimes. 3,400 victims of hate crimes that were black out of a total of 11,000. Next down was anti-Jewish, anti-gay, male, anti-white, anti-Hispanic, Latino. Anti-Asian hate doesn't even top in the top 5. But because of their South Asian vice president and the moves that the United States government is making to specifically address them, they get to the front of the line when it comes to benefits and federal protections. Fine. Let's go a little bit further. It talks about when you look at here, do what they want to do, they're going through things they're critically targeting Asians for. Fine. But the big thing was right here, this bottom line, ensuring that Asian American communities are empowered and equitably served by federal funding, grants, and contracts. So in here, they talk about not only supporting them through specific protection laws, but specific money to be allocated to them through federal funding, grants, and contracts. And if you look at here, it says specifically those communities, not communities of color, not immigrant communities, not LGBTQ communities, not black communities, specifically Asian communities. Fine. Let's go a little bit further. This is the people who say that they can't do things for specific people. Again, this is from the whitehouse.gov. It goes in here talking about the hate crime, what we talked about earlier. But I want you guys to look a little further in what I have down here. And it's talking about the money. Let's look at the money. And so it talks about they're talking about specific targeting of reducing poverty in the Asian American community by nearly 22%. And so within the American Recovery Act, there was money earmarked specifically for the Asian American community to get them back up and right whatever wrongs was done to them or whatever targeting was done with them. Fine. Again, I have no issues with this. I'm just pointing out to you and showing you guys what the government can do for specific groups of people when it wants to. So we talk about the $46 billion to keep families safely housed with emergency assistance and culturally and linguistically relevant outreach and stability services. So it's talking about putting money that goes even to people who cannot speak the language, getting funding and getting money to them. Fine. It goes here talking about more in here when it's talking about the money side of it. It's talking about keeping Asian schools open through the American Recovery Act. Fine. People need their schools to stay open. And so it's talking about different things, redresses that they can do that specifically benefit and booster the Asian American economy, including government grants, education, and things earmarked specifically for that group of people, okay? Because we've all seen posts like this, and it's sort of misleading. I saw this post recently from this guy. It says, people calling it said does not specifically protect Asians. Okay, yes it does. We just read through it saying that it kind of does specifically give them benefits according to the whitehouse.gov. You know, I see these kind of stuff right here saying what is people are talking about, what is Kamala Harris, and what can she do specifically to beat black people? I'm seeing Tamika Mallory say they can't wait to tell you about the Asian crime bill. You notice how they like to specifically narrow things down to one when it comes to the black misleadership class? How they like to take these little red herrings, take these fallacies and make the whole argument these side fallacies. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to stay focused on the bigger, larger goal at hand. The larger goal at hand is we have a government that can specifically do things for specific communities, and they're doing it right in front of our face, while at the same time, when they come speak to us, they're telling us this.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
That's what we hear from the president who pushed this campaign back in 2016 that was going specifically at her mother's ancestral land. Let's fast forward to May 9th, 2024. This is an update on what they gave us back in 2021. If you go to whitehouse.gov, May 9th, 2024, they're giving you an update of what, not only of what they've done. Before they talked about what they were going to do. Here they're telling you what they've done. Now, if you go into it, it's talking about desegregating data and showing the difference between the different Asian communities, which is beautiful. I think that every group, because a Hawaiian is different than someone from Japan, who's different than someone from India, who's different than someone from China or Indonesia. So I'm totally fine with that. Again, you don't have any issues from me when it comes to what these people specifically got. I'm only using them as an example to show that the half Asian vice president, her administration was able to do these things for that half of her lineage. But when it comes to the other half of her lineage, this is what she says.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
Okay, let's go here and let's go into her other community. It talks about the discrimination bias. The Biden-Harris administration has mobilized over $1 billion in new investments to increase support for programs to bridge divides, to counter hateful violence, targeting anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and related forms of bias. I don't see anything here about anti-black violence right here. Okay, it's going in, it's talking about, let's go through this thing right here. All right here, supporting Asian American and NHPI small businesses. Back 7,500 loans to AAPI-owned businesses, which totaled more than $4.6 billion. That means total loans are up 44% under the Biden-Harris administration. The total loan dollars are up 36%. So the same administration that in May 2021 promised these benefits and promised these earmarked benefits for this group of people, they delivered. They delivered on what they were promised. So we see right here that specific groups of people are getting specific benefits. And I encourage you to read through all of this. There's more data in here talking about the percentage of government contracts that were given specifically to Asian Americans. That was up to 13% of all government contracts were given to specifically Asian American businesses. That's in here. When they don't make up 13% of the population, Black Americans do. And Ice Cube's plan for Black America, that's all he wanted, was for the government contracts to equal to Black Americans our percentage within the country, which is 13%. They tell us they can't do that. The government tells us we can't do that just for Black people, but we see them doing this just for other groups of people. And we can go down the line with other minority groups that get specific things, but we're not going to go, we don't want to get too petty. But I do want to point out the fact that, look here, people, this is real. The government handing out benefits to groups of people is real. They do it every day. They earmark benefits for Native Americans. They earmark benefits for Israel. They earmark benefits for the Ukraine and people coming in from the Ukraine. They earmark benefits for all of these different groups of people that Black Americans cannot touch. But when it comes to benefits that's supposed to benefit us, everyone gets to touch ours. Whatever Black people get is something for everybody. It's never anything earmarked just for us. We have to make sure we get in where we fit in, while other groups of people get things specifically for them. I said that to say, don't let these people, y'all, tell us what they cannot do for us. Don't let these Black misleaders tell us what the government cannot do for us. These people are paid shills. They have an agenda, and their agenda is to keep us all in line. Remember that. No hate to Asians, no hate to any other groups. I love my people from Palestine, from Israel, from all places, from Mexico, from anywhere else in the world. America's a place where we allow people to come here, and I'm still cool with that. The only thing we ask for now is that the people who built this country, we get our specific cut too.